the hook now. Ain't that like when I sing freestyle? Hold on, we can't let it go.
What's going on? How y'all doing today? Today we're going to be talking about a little bit of the situation that we've seen going on over the internet since recently. And it's mostly about the now you saw the headline. You saw the intro, the name of the show when you and it's we got some guests that's going to be oh, what? But I'm gonna go ahead and stated. But okay, maybe that situation of him owning that house. He's an owner or an investor somehow, municipal bus lines of let's say just built a whole bus line of his own. And now is giving them rights. I don't know how that can be. I really don't. Maybe somebody can give me idea of what it is that's going on. Like maybe there's something somewhere down the line where someone can own a whole bus and incorporate it with the situation of the mall or the NTA or Long Island Sound or Inform me, because I can't see how that can happen. I don't see where this can actually come about, and it just confuses me on how a situation can even get to that point on a person who is saying something like that. But then that can happen unless you live in a rural area where you're giving a service and the government is actually paying for that service. So I'm gonna go ahead and do a quick introduction. Yes, I'm coming through. World-renowned international DJ. One of my good friends, and a man who actually put me on with DJ. How you doing, brother?
For some reason, your voice is very low. I know it's you.
Look, trying to get everybody on, man. Trying to get everybody on. Hey, look, I'm gonna fill this thing until it gets to a point where it actually gets up there.
Your voice is low. I put my what is it, max, but I can barely hear you.
Hold on a second. Let me lower.
The sound is loud, but your voice when you're talking is very low.
Oh, really? It is.
Yeah.
How about now? Check. Man. Sometimes the auto volume control. Hey.
Right. What's good, man?
Trying to get it together, baby. Trying to get it together. So while I'm fixing the phone, why don't you go ahead and tell me about yourself? Give us an introduction, understanding of what's going on. What we got here.
Wow. Can you hear me okay?
Oh yeah, we hear you.
Yeah, man. I'm Bijan from Senegal. Living in LA since 2014. So it's been like 9 years now. Before that, we were in Wisconsin, and before that, we lived in France for 7 years too. Went to college over there, have our masters. Before that, I'm born and raised in Senegal, West Africa. Been there for 19 years. But I'm realizing now that I lived abroad more than in Senegal, because I left Senegal when I was 1920. And now it's been 22 years, man, I'm abroad. So I'm being westernized, low-key. But yeah, really, man, looking for corporate America as a global supply chain manager on the weekends, on my free time. I'm a DJ, studying love with music, connecting with my sound engineers, DJ the Lord Zuko, we're making moves, throwing beach parties, house parties, we sing awu, just doing stuff that make you happy and fulfill, riding motorcycles, things like that. So that's my hobbies, music and motorcycles, so yeah.
Look, he put me on a look. I'm right now. I got my first motorcycle ever. He got me in the mode of trying to ride and stuff like that. Like I'm putting it together. I'm doing my first oil change. So I'm feeling it right now. I'm feeling it. Like, I can't come out there with y'all yet. I'm still taking my time to
Come on now.
In a certain type of way. I can't be doing what y'all doing.
I think you are ready, man.
Not yet. Not yet. I still maybe like a good like month. And plus I ain't even going for 45 miles an hour yet. You talking about you?
Oh my God! You gotta hit the freeway. You gotta hit the freeway, man.
Look, man, I ain't gonna front with you. I got to the freeway. I was going like a good like 30, and like right when I got to the edge, I saw like 15 cars go by. I literally didn't turn on out. I couldn't do it. But oh man. So I wanted to ask though, like, you saw the title, right?
Yeah, can you bus driver?
Yeah. So did you hear about the situation that happened with FBK and Iala?
About what?
So Iala Van Zant, I think I said her name right. Iala is a she was a legal personnel, but she switched over to like becoming like a psych major. Like hopefully our psych major does something because she can get medical or get explanation that Iala will probably be talking about. But talking about the state pretty much worldwide when it comes to guys. We ain't gonna go too deep into that, right? But we're gonna keep it live. We're gonna keep it high and all that type of stuff, and we're gonna make sure that we get some good laughs going on because we don't want to like make anybody feel. That's one of the main things that a lot of our friends, a lot of my female friends were worried about it. And we said, they were mentioning how to meet. That was interesting. Yeah, my main mindset is, how do you feel about the situation? What do you think? Feeling about you. What do you think about the women saying? So the fast. Now this is a well accomplished, very very a good looking woman. Matter of fact, I might even put it. So she asked me a bus shot. But like, yeah, so his immediate response was, if he owns the bus. Now, my main thing is it that she had to go into that realm of a sort of man in which she would actually, date, so on and so forth. Because a large part of the situation is definitely that follow it, and then mimic her statements in a way, saying, "Oh yeah, only if he has, like would you would you date a man with a Suburban? Only if he owns a fleet." So, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and let you speak, and I'm gonna pull it up so you can see and hear exactly what it was that she had said. But give me a second. But give me a.
Yeah, man. Can you just repeat the last part? I'll be setting up my speaker to hear you, man, because the volume is very low, man, when you talk. I can barely hear you for some reason. I can't hear you.
I know. I can hear you clearly, but I don't know why you can't.
How about now?
Yeah, way better, man.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. Very interesting. Okay.
What did you do?
I unmuted a mic that I'm not even connected to. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But
yeah, man, I was struggling to hear you, man.
Check 1 2 1 2.
Yeah, now it's better. Now it's working. Now I can hear you.
That is crazy. All right, I'm gonna have to fix that. I'm definitely gonna have to fix that. I think it's something with the settings in my Rodecaster, but I'll get to it. Let's see.
So can you repeat the question again?
So what she was stating was, Iala. Matter of fact, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna pull up the actual video, right? While I actually talk about this particular situation. So Iala Benson was and I think I'm murdering her name pretty much. But Iala was Iala is she pretty much what she is she's a ex-lawyer turned pretty much psychologist, right? Now she helps in multiple, like I want to say multiple areas, because I've seen her always since I was little in situations where she was speaking on like Oprah, Sally Jesse Raphael, all that, and then she came over into like pretty much the dating world as well, right? And she quit the dating, like not the dating world, but like she quit the self-help world is what I should say, mostly because she was having problems with being able to communicate with the people in which she was trying to help the most. Not because she couldn't communicate, but because they would not take in the information, because they pretty much, let's just say Americans overall are bullheaded, right? We love what we love, and we're gonna do what we want to do. And I'm keeping it very broad and in the spectrum, because I feel it's very much so all of us when it comes down to like the American way and way of life, thought process, and everything like that. But she was speaking to a reporter one day, right? Because she was actually on this reporter's show, and
So what did she say?
I'm about to. Oh, it is Iala Van Zandt. Okay, trying to pull it up right now. So I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna pull this in. And
in the law, Ayanla, do you believe that lens, that legal lens, informs our perspective and the way we show up in the world as women?
can you hear this?
Oh, absolutely, and that's why I got out. Very masculine, very intellectual, almost stripped and robbed of humanity. It really shows the of the law and the spirit of the law. And for me, it just didn't feed my soul. And so I had to get out.
I feel that, and I do feel that I might have heard on a date or two, Ayanla, that we are not in a courtroom, Ebony, put the gavel down, and I do feel it can spill over into the way I show up in womanhood, which is really the center of this conversation today, Ayanla. We want to discuss masculine energy, feminine energy. I do want to start with kind of a news framing, which is that women's rights across the country, especially Black women's rights, they're under attack. Lots of laws are banning abortions. They are regulating what we can and cannot do with our bodies. What do you think happens for Black women when this type of siege is at play and we don't have anyone to protect us?
Right. Well, the first thing I think we do is we go into anger. We go into anger without a clear ask. Doesn't make sense to be angry unless you got to ask, that you're angry for. People can say anything in the world, but that doesn't mean that they get a right to do it. It doesn't mean that they get a right to affect you. Many of us are programmed and conditioned and educated to think men. We respond like men. And when I mean men, I don't mean two-legged beasts. I mean in the masculine energy. And it becomes competitive, it becomes aggressive, it becomes against them. And that's not who we are as women. It just isn't. And I think for Black women, particularly for us, the way that we've been programmed and conditioned and educated in society, expect less, to accept less, to be angry and to complain, but to not really step into our authentic self as women and create what we want, even if creep man. Oh no, not here, not today.
Okay, I hear you articulating Ayanla's masculine energy traits, the competitiveness, the assertiveness. Tell me how you would
Great, aggressive, not assertive. It's okay for a woman to be assertive. Grace, first of all. I think we've lost our grace. We move in such a harsh and hard way. Grace, compassion, nurturing, nourishing. How about being, hard? And some of us are either not seated in our out to hold that space and demanding and it's killing.
In a recent interview with our dear friends over at the Breakfast Club that went very viral for very good reason, you said that women are being team to get you here today, because you're right, Ayanla. I do think that I'll just speak for myself vulnerably. When I think of a masculine posture and what I would expect a man to do in my life, two things come top of mind, and they are provide and they are protect. And I got, I've had some, and I've yet to find a man.
I was wrong on that age.
And this includes even my father, who was absent. I've yet to have a male energy that provided or protected me consistently ever. So I think that I have taken on the reins to protect and provide for myself, because what I'm not going to do, Ayanla, is be without. Baby, it's not happening. So be without protection, and without the necessities of life.
Okay.
But I say that with an invitation, Ayanla, check me. Show me the error of my ways. Show me how I might be missing it, because I might be.
Okay. I too am an alpha woman. I understand what that
now,
means.
I will say this part right here.
All the time. I was a horrible mother. I was a horrible mother. I
will say this.
Father.
If this thing pauses, I like that part. I like that she said, check me if I'm wrong, right? That right there, to me, states that she is open to a situation of being able to learn and be able to open herself up to new things, new horizons, new mindsets, other than what she's already been programmed with. So I'm cool with everything she said beyond at that point. Actually, I'm kind of blindly, because I only saw a piece of this report or whatever, and I don't really see a problem. I do see one problem, because she said she was married, or I saw something that said she was married. And then shortly after, it was a situation of her saying that she's never been protected ever consistently. So I'm trying to figure out how that can be in a situation in which she was married at one point. That don't make sense to me. I'm sorry, what was that?
That's an interesting point, like, because each marriage or relationship has two stories. Like, you have a man, and a woman, and everybody got their own stories, So sometimes from the outside in looking in, it's very hard to judge people and their past experience, because she's giving no context. Like, she just said that she wasn't feeling protected. What kind of protection she's talking about? Financially, physically, maybe. What kind of protection is so
maybe
broad?
Maybe it's a situation of like, she's talking about as a child. Maybe that's the first thing that comes to mind when she, like, when I start going into the situation, thinking of it from a point of what is it? She wants to be in a situation of being protected, but if I look at it, that's the word I was looking for. Looking at it from a point of chronologically thinking, right? Like maybe she was talking about as a child. Maybe she was talking about like the few dates and everything. Thank you, Go Professor. Let me know if it's actually fixed this by now. On your side, because I'm not sure if I actually fixed everything. But maybe she's talking about it from those points of views, and because she's still thinking of it as a child or in that situation of a child, she hasn't graduated to the mindset of you was a whole married woman. So, but I think this is going to get to the point of where I was looking for, because like truthfully, this done run around the internet like 20 billion times. I done seen people talking about it, but I never really got a chance to really get to the meat of it. So now I want to go ahead and see what this is about, ask this question, see how many other people actually got a question about it.
Yeah, I've been seeing her on the internet lately. Like she's in a lot of podcasts. I've been checking. Like I watch a lot of channels.
Never been how to nourish. God.
See, I'm gonna have to do two cameras.
How to demand, how to discipline, and like you said, provide and protect. Those are masculine energies. And the distinction here is men build, women create. So we know how to build. We know to get to the external and get the work done and drive and push and do it. We don't know how to be still and allow it to come to us. And I learned that when I learned how to create, because I already built the house of necessities of life until I was stripped down to the bare bone. And then I had to learn how not to build. Build is external. Create is internal. And we as women have the power to create and attract anything we desire. But we don't get still. We won't shut up. And we manage everything through fear, control, and survival, as opposed to feeling, knowing, and blooming or flourishing. Complete different thing. But since we've never been trying,
Now, is this why you are conducting a rites of passage program so that women, all of Black women in particular, can learn to create?
Women, so that we can learn our authentic power, that we can learn the distinction between a powerful woman and a woman. There's a distinction, but there are skills and tools and practices and processes that we have to learn. At every age, the 20s have a process, the 30s have a process, the 40s have a 50, 60. We each have a process. And if you don't learn your 20 process, you'll be doing it at 50. If you don't complete your 30 process, you're going to be doing it at 60. And that means you'll be running on overdrive instead of seated in your power. Yeah. Yes. The secrets are there. It's a culture. They come from, but of African and Native American land in the mix. And I just find they're way right, and you're crazy. Sit down, shut up, and you can create what you want. They don't hear that.
Well, tell me when the sign up is. I don't miss it. Let me know when you're taking registrations, because I am curious. I had a very mother, and I'm going to
But she was, by definition,
in terms of providing and protecting. I think that's
I'm having so much trouble with this computer right now.
23% of
So
households in the country are single parent.
there we go. So go, Professor. Go, Professor. Now I'm speaking to one of the good FBA members and stuff like that. But go, Professor. Thank you for that part. He says she was married. She wasn't married. She was engaged to a to a man of a lighter complexion. No, let me just say it. She was engaged to some palm-colored male, and he and he chose to be with his kids during C-19, which I feel like any man should do. You know, especially in that situation, you got to take care of your kids. And she didn't want to be there with him. We just got him. He just dropped. She didn't want to be there with him. He said she had to kick rocks pretty much overall. So I get that part. And Iyala was part of the issue as well. Just as Shahrazad Ali and Donahue. Okay, it was Donahue. That was the show. Okay. See, that's funny actually when you talking about it. Over and over again, you get to see the situation of the chicks is coming home to roost in a way, especially as recently with since COVID, it's so many things that have like exacerbated themselves and got to a point where they came to a finish a lot faster than they were supposed to. And I guess what we're saying is with the Yalowitz situation, that's what happened. Is that what you're saying, Go Professor? Because I do remember her being a prominent voice, but I didn't, because I guess I was too young at that time. I just remember her as the woman that she is now. I don't know who she was back then. So you're saying that she is part of the situation that led to what somebody might think is today's mindset, I guess. I'm not sure. Most likely you'll fill me in. But I don't really. Here's what the thing is, I'm speaking to you, Go Professor. I don't see the problem with her. You know what? We're gonna get to what she actually said. But as of right now, I don't see the problem, right? Because I really do think in a lot of cases, everybody has their own lane. Everybody has their own race that they gotta run, right? And so it's a situation in which a lot of people fit into a certain lane. So there's some people who, let's say for instance, I'm gonna use the whole situation of running groups and stuff like that. There's some people who fit into the alpha group. Some people fit into the Bravo, Charlie, and the Delta groups, right? Each one of them being successively slower. The thing about it is, that's your lane. That's your group of people you need to run with. And she chooses to run that lane that she's running. But the thing about it is, she got to understand that because of the situation of the race she's running, and she knows her group of overall runners, a lot of these people think that they running in the alpha group and they not alpha runners. They can't run a 5-minute mile. They not there. They most likely 30-minute. They ain't even know 30 minutes. They most likely hour minute. They 60-minute. I'm trying to keep it clean. 60-minute hour. 60-minute runners, mile runners, and they think that they are 5-minute mile runners. Now I don't know exactly what Ebony does overall, right? She says she had a law degree, which I think that's a great thing. She says she's my ex is a part of that situation. She says she's a beautiful woman. You know what? Let me see. The picture that's up there right now is not a perfect representation of her, but I would say she's a fairly good looking woman. At one point, I would have went and tried to talk to her, but at this point right now, she's not my cup of tea. But she looks good. She looks good. I'm not going down talk that woman. She looks good. So with that being said, it's more of a, she may be putting out some information that does not fit the fold in which she's actually for a lot of the people that she's talking to, right? And that's where I see the problem. Like not being the same way that we wanted a lot of these rappers and these entertainers and all these people who were doing a thing and they were speaking a certain type of way. Here's the problem with, especially with the rappers, they never said they were a voice for children. They said they were a voice for the streets. Often is what they said. So that does not put the onus on them to be able to give a mindset towards children. It's for the parents to make sure that they monitor and figure out how to give the child doses of this world. That's their job. Well, a lot of them are failing at that job. And the reason why we have the situation now where the government is moving and multiple entities are moving so hard towards trying to take control of the mindset of the children and being able to do so like successfully is because we have so many parents failing. But in a situation in which she is a spokesperson, she is a person who actually is a thought leader because of her type of position. She is the type that really needs to actually pay attention to how she presents certain information, certain phrasing, certain what I like to call thought viruses. There's a lot of thought viruses out there. Matter of fact, I do a lot of thought virus implementation because I love to see how it just like invades people and then like continuously like permeates and then grows within somebody. I love seeing it. I'm a people watcher. Like naturally as a New Yorker, you're gonna be a people watcher. But it's very interesting to see how she did it, and from what I perceived from the information that I did get right in the beginning, that she kind of ducked her responsibility of her position at the same time. It's like a cop not protecting the servant at the same time. He's acting as if he did everything he was supposed to do. Like for instance, the ones that didn't go into that building and try to save those kids, and all those kids got killed because they were afraid that the gunman was somewhere in the building. Problem is, you stop people from having guns to be able to protect themselves. So now you have a man with a gun who now has ultimate power. And was it a man? I forgot what if it was a little girl, because it's been so many shootings, I can't tell which ones was which. But it was her responsibility to clean up a lot of the things that she said, and instead she, from what I was seeing, she was actually protecting herself protecting her pride over paying attention to what she was saying.
Households, and we know 80% of them are led by women. How does the child, both little girls, little boys, non-binary children, how does that frame their expectation of women when the mother is in charge?
It all depends on what the mother or the woman demonstrates about being a woman. If she's demonstrating that it's hard and it's rough and nobody's helping me and I gotta do this and you gotta do it this way, then that's what the children are gonna get. If she's angry because she's alone, if she's desperate because she's not conscious, if she, look at my children not being clear about who I am as a feminine expression of the chief architect and creator of the universe. I understand that I didn't know that and how to tap into that. And I did to my children who I love with all my heart. As soon as I discovered how off I was, I confessed it to them and asked them to watch me as I rebuilt who I was. And I'm still very out when my crown is straight.
Okay. I'm looking forward to straightening my crown, Dr. Ayana. Let me ask you this. Let's get to the logistics, though. Let's get to the logistics. We know that Black women are earning college degrees faster than anybody else. Many of us are doing like we're doing. We're getting those PhDs. We also are the fastest growing group of entrepreneurs, along with Latina women in America. Pew Research said that women are now out earning men
Yes.
in 22 of the largest cities in America, including where I live, New York, DC, LA, you name it. When we talk, and I know that you've said that you cannot teach a man or tell a man how to be a man. So I will not ask you to indict men in this question. But I do want you to speak, Ayanla, to how women need to position ourselves so that we can be in our divinity, so we can have our crowns right, how we can create and not build, when some of us, quite frankly, feel that the men that are available to us, and I'm talking about across the color spectrum, across the age spectrum, trust me, I've done them all, they are not positioned to protect nor provide because of some of the statistics we just talked about. They're not earning the incomes. They're not having the resources, and some of them are not even showing up in the leadership.
Would you date a bus driver? Would you date
if he owns the bus? If he owns it. If he owns the bus.
See, that's a problem. That's a problem. That's a problem. Okay. Because the standards and requisites, and I'm not talking about him laying on his sofa playing video games all day. I'm not talking about that. But the standards and the criteria that we use to measure men is off for who we are as women and who they are in this society. I would date a bus driver if he loved driving the bus, if he was a man of integrity, if he was good to his mama, if he treated me well, I would date a bus driver. But we think that it's another human being's responsibility to give us what we need instead of us building together. I can build with a bus driver. I'd have my little stash over on the side in my prenup, but I could build with a bus driver. So I think some of the criteria that we look for in the reality of today keeps us unhappy, keeps us angry, keeps us imbalanced. And then when the men show up, we want to beat them up because they're not living up to our standards and criteria. And it's not working, beloved. It's not working. So
I'm going to leave it there. That's a really good one right there.
So it's not that it's bad or wrong. It's obsolete. It's obsolete. We have to come up with a new way of being. I don't believe in carrying a man. A man has to do for himself. My son got his first job when he was 9. 9, okay? Because you're a Black man, you will know how to take care of yourself. But I think the way we measure it, it's just obsolete.
I think that's a factual.
Wow. To be honest with you, I ain't even gonna get on. There's nothing really to get on about. There's nothing really to just to break this down and just to think about it in total. I really feel, because I'm gonna go with feeling first. Definitely gonna go with feeling first. I really feel she is in the right to demand of whatever man that she wants to be with. She's in the right to demand the situation of him rising to the occasion of what she wants, right? So if that particular man is in that lane like I was saying before with the whole racing thing, or with the running thing, if she is a minute, she a 5 minute mile runner, and the man she wants is to be like she wants a man in her group, in her lane, then so be it. I really don't have a problem with that. I think now, going from feeling to thought, the main problem that I think a lot of the guys out there, what they're having a problem with is, I think most of them have a problem with the situation of when she says this statement that she said and made, that it will reverberate within the masses of other women who fit very similar demographics as she has, but not totally. So, and mostly it's because I think with men mostly know that they're not as like, okay, if one man knows that he's not the same as the other man, because we don't really put ourselves in a situation of comparison. We well, no, I shouldn't say that. What it really is we pretty much measure each other up, right? We look at each other, we get a good understanding of who and what we are, and then how we measure up to the other men aside of us, right? Like most men will tell you straight out, oh yeah, that, like, you know, that's the playboy, or that's the smart one, that's the strong one. That, like, we know each other's, especially if we're in a friends group, we know each other's roles, we know each other's parts, we know, well, not all the parts, but we know each other's abilities, is what I should say. We know, we have a great understanding of what it is that can actually be contributed by our team mates, our members. Like, a lot of the times, that's how men think about each other. The situation of women, I think they often compete with each other, but they don't always. And this is outside looking in. This is something that I was noticing, right? The ones who are actually apt, the ones who actually have a mindset towards really looking at another woman, measuring themselves up, and giving a good, sound judgment on what their situation is in comparison to another, they often, I don't think they ever really have an actual problem with this particular situation. Like, they're not going to take what this woman says in that particular statement and be like, oh yeah, that's gospel. Whereas there's going to be a lot of women who, they're going to hear this, and because, let's say for instance, Iala is older woman, they're gonna, you know, drop that to the wayside. They're gonna drop it to the waistline and be like, oh, she don't know what she's talking about. She ain't even like, you know, she old as hell. She don't really, you know, look the part. She don't, you know, it's a bunch of different things that a lot of ladies, because y'all got, if you got female friends, if you got friends, period, point blank, you know the deal. You've heard the things that they say. The same way that these women who got male friends, and yes, I don't care what nobody say. I can have female friends, and they're female friends, right? And I guess what it is for me is, there's a use for everybody in every situation. Like, I'm not going to sit here and look at a woman and be like, okay, your only utility to me is going to be a sexual situation. Because, to be honest with you, there's no real, like truthfully, it takes too much. It's a lot of energy. That's a lot of energy. Especially a lot of you dudes that's out there, y'all might not even be in a situation of being able to understand what I'm saying right now. But if you're dealing with a lot of women, that's a lot of energy. That's a lot of being able to wear multiple hats. That's a lot of being able to like juggle conversations that pretty much in a lot of cases for a lot of guys you're not interested in, right? You're not. But if you have these particular friends, or if you have people who you're actually friends with, because this right now we're going through a situation of a epidemic of loneliness. They say pretty much loneliness is almost equitable to 15 cigarettes a day. Like it's hard out there for a pimp right now. It's hard out there for people. So I understand that it's not a lot of people gonna have this situation. Like most of, like I moved to a new place. I live I moved to a brand new area just before COVID. That was the loneliest I've ever been in my life. And if they were experiencing something like if people are experiencing that right now, even while we're out, that's epic. That's scary. That's really scary. Because if you know the stats on that particular thing, the more that a person is alone, the more they drift from being at, like, let's say average, right? And it's not a situation of you want that person to be of a lower status, because a lot of people think average is of a lower status or something like that. But what you want is a person who can emote and relate to people on a common thread, so that they can converse and talk and have a good time with people and not feel like the imposter syndrome is happening. A lot of people are going to be even more like this because of the loneliness epidemic. But back to the situation that we were talking about, if I can remember, because my mind was going down that rabbit hole. The amount of, like, if you have a lot of female friends, it's a juggling situation that a lot of people can't really maintain. And it's okay, you don't have to really maintain it. If that's not your cup of tea, it's not your cup of tea. If it's not your thing, it's not your thing. I'm not saying for you to go out there, find a bunch of females and just befriend them. If you only see women just for a sexual situation and that's how you operate, there's a woman out there who is for you. That's okay. There's a group out there that's for you, and that's okay. I'm learning how to say, and that's okay. I think I've been in Cali too long. But what I'm trying to say is her race that she's running, that's us. If you, first off, let's say, for instance, she's one of those people who require the 3 6s, right? What is it? 6-pack, 6 foot, over 6 inches, right? If she's one of those people who require that particular situation, if you don't have those, why are you even worried? Especially as a man, right? Like we do a nice little judgment on ourselves very well. I ain't got a 6-pack. Got everything else. I ain't got a 6-pack. So let's add another requirement. Say you got the 6-pack. Say you got the 6-pack and all the 3 6s. And then now she says she wants 6 figures too. If you're not a man who's earning 6 figures, why complain? Right? Like, we're men. We don't really bother ourselves with the shit that ain't really got nothing to do with us. Right? I should turn it around so I can say, oh yeah, tonight is brought to you by Body Armor. But what I'm trying to get to is this part, right? And this is one of the things that actually I had to get taught at one point by one of my comrades, and that was, if you don't have no control over it, what is your concern? Why is it bothering you that much when it's not even in your wheelhouse, right? So And looking at this situation, let me put it back up real quick. 'Cause, and looking at this situation, it makes me think of there's no real no real qualm with it except for the thought virus of it actually attacking other people and becoming a situation where like ladies are going to start looking at this and trying to mimic this same thought process. So now that's where the problem is. I'm thinking that's where a lot of us other guys have a problem. Now, if you're a person who follows the great BGS, yes, got to put him out there, great BGS and more. You would also understand what octane this woman is. I should pull up the octane level so like to better help a lot of us men that are out there. But I'm gonna just explain it for right now because I'm definitely gonna have to figure out how to make sure my computer is more stable because I have 5 screens and this guy is just acting up right now. I don't know why. So this woman here, if not 92, she's 100 octane. Now, go professor. If you're still in here, would you say that this woman is a 92 octane or 100 octane? The reason why I asked that is I just want confirmation, and the reason why I'm saying it like that is she has a certain look about herself. She has a higher education than, let's say, for instance, the majority. I'm aiming at the black community right now. Than most black men. She has a higher education than most black men, especially when it comes down to being. I think she's a JD. If she's not a JD, she's still a law degree holder, right? So actually, I'm gonna have to take that back because from what I've actually noticed in a lot of situations is a lot of these women who actually have these particular type of degrees, they tend to go for pookies that can't even like hold a conversation with them at the level in which they like to be, in which their education actually puts them. So it's really interesting that at first I was about to back her up with that part, but now when I think about it, I don't know. I'm gonna have to hold back a little bit because I think usually they go for men who don't really have the education that can be with them at that level, right? And then it's either they go higher than or lower than. And when they do go higher than, it's because they want to be in a situation of being taken care of, which kind of makes no sense to me because if both people have the means of being able to have everything in the world that they really want, why is it that his money is actually that much of a big deal where for instance, and I'm gonna go down this thought virus because I'm gonna go down this this wormhole in a way because I want to play it out real quick because as a matter of fact somebody else just this weekend said something very similar to me. It's funny that actually comes up. So if I'm laughing because the person said, let me tell you a secret. And I'm sitting here like, wow, that wasn't as profound as I thought it was going to be. So say for instance, said man makes $250,000. Matter of fact, yeah, we're going to keep it at 250. Because in the black community, that actually puts that places that man in the top 1% in the black community. Outside of the black community, that puts him in the top 10%, right? Or not top 10%, they'll actually put him in the lower 10%. So he makes $250,000. She makes $250,000. That's $500,000 a year household, right? And we're talking take home. Talking take home. So now, both people make $250,000 a year. If you was to actually do this one thing, right? Now, what the person said to me was, if you find you a woman who also makes $250,000, then y'all can live comfortably. But the problem usually is, I'm trying to find nice ways to say, I don't really see the situation of like a sharing of the true household situation, right? So let's say, for instance, they both make 250 million. We don't need to make no more, but 250,000, right? For the average person, 50% of that 33% of that takes care of all living arrangements. All 33% of that, right? So now, and that's for the average person. That's for 80% of the people living in the world today, right? Where's the music at? I think my guy. So now, 33% of that 250 takes care of everything that you need, right? Okay. So now you got this man and this woman living together. They make $500,000. Their lifestyle. Turn that down. Their lifestyle is taken care of. They don't really have to think about much. So now you can really do a situation of you could cut half of that household income in half. You don't even need the other half. As a matter of fact, that whole other half of the household income can go to everything that you need to retire within, let's say it's a 10-year relationship and they met at an early age, right? They met at, and this is going to like the people who are like, let's say 25 to about 30, right? You got married, y'all both making $250,000 a year. Your lifestyle for the rest of your life is taken care of if you actually know how to budget. And it's not even a budget, because you're already above the lifestyle spectrum of 80% of the daggone Americans that's out here. You're good. Now let's talk about the top 10%, right? Cut it in half, the low 10%. Most of them are stunting, and they're still living on paycheck to paycheck. Still living paycheck to paycheck, making about this is wild, making about $250 to about $400,000 a year. How they live a paycheck to paycheck, I don't understand it. I don't know. Makes no sense to me. But they are, right? So now, you're in this relationship with a lovely person that you like, you're both on the same page. I'm not even going to use the worst case scenario. You know why? Because we always go after the worst case scenario for stupid ass reasons. So let's go ahead and put away the worst case scenario. Let's go ahead with the fantasy Disney situation of y'all both actually do really love each other. There's no 10-year plan. Have y'all heard of the 10-year plan? The 10-year plan is crazy. We're going to have to make another podcast about that. But the 10-year plan, woo! Once I heard it, it blew my mind. I did not know that was even a thing. But when I look back to the situation of being in the military and a couple of other marriages that I know about, it actually is a thing. So anyway, let's get back to this beautiful relationship. So we're mostly talking about the financials of this, right? And the reason why is because most of the time, as of recent, everything is about financials. So here we go. Like I said, we're taking, like, you know what? And this is the best way to do it. Instead of us taking away, like, let's say one person's income, because most of the time what we'll say is, yeah, we'll just take her income and throw that away. No. Skin in the game, especially today, because mindsets have changed. It's not a, it's not an all in, all out type of situation today. A lot of people got, one foot in, one foot out. And the moment that boat even feels like it's slightly lower on the left hand side than it is on the shore, they're already off that boat. They're not going to dive in and try to save you either. So let's go ahead and be logical about this situation. 250, 250. We take 300 of that and apply it to multiple bank accounts, multiple investment plans, multiple vacation destination packages, or at least a account that actually is ready and waiting for the mindset towards that type of stuff. Even down to the point of every decision that every future purchase, every, let's say, subscription, all of them have some sort of account, right? Now, you and Shorty doing good, right? Because she got her Vanguard S&P 500 ETF popping. She ain't thinking about an investment. He got his same. Y'all got y'all VIX, the VVIX going good. I mean, or VIXX going good. You pulled out a little money here and there because you saw that Bitcoin was going up before, Bitcoin went up. You threw a little bit in the ape. You got your money going. Y'all was paying attention. Y'all got 200,000 that is taking care of all your needs. Not one thing that you have to think about when it comes down to living your life. Like, you wanted a house, 100,000 a year is not going to be able to pay for the rent of the house that you want to live in. That was just one person's check. You wanted a high rise out here in Circa or something like that. You want to live in a penthouse on the top of LA. That's 8,000. One person check can take care of that. I think that. No, you might have to move down a couple of floors. You might have to move down to H. If you live on the H floor and stuff like that, it's 6,000, right? But here's the thing. You got it though. You got it. And not only do you have it, you have more than enough to take care of everything that that you need to pay for. Your cars are paid for. That's all for one person's check. Your house is paid for. That's all for one person's check. All the luxuries that you want is already taken care of. But the problem is, that scenario only fits the top 10%. Even with the high education that most women have out here, they're not earning at that level. They're demanding at that level, but they're not earning at that level. If we talk about black men in the black community, we're gonna stay domestic, right? We're gonna stay in the Americas. Actually, we're gonna stay in North America, or we're gonna stay in just the US itself. If I break it down anymore, it's going to be drastic changes per situation that I even say, because situations in cities like DC, New York, Miami totally skew the whole situation. Yeah, we going high level right now because there's nobody that I have to actually hold down the conversation to. So when it comes down to the situation of us being in these relationships where there's demand, but there's no reciprocity, we got a problem. The rest of America doesn't even, like, there's swaths of America that nobody makes over $80,000 a year. Right? Now we can't, like, you can sprinkle in a doctor here and there, a lawyer here and there in these certain areas. But remember, if that's here and there, that's like 15 out of 20,000 people. You get where I'm going with that part? So their income doesn't really affect the general populace. These people don't actually make that money like that. So is it a stewardship for us to actually try to thwart the thought virus that Ebony K was actually putting out there, which she is entitled to every part of her opinion on that. Absolutely every part. But does that grant everyone else the same? As I think about this, yes, it does. And here's why I say yes. There's this thing, right, where Darwinism is constantly being tested in multiple different ways, right? Either it's stupidity of the mind, ignorance of just ignorance overall of a situation. Like, if you didn't know, if you touched a wire that is hot and you have sneakers on, and it won't go through until you actually put some type of contact of your skin or some other apparatus or something like that to the ground to ground yourself out, that you could be electrocuted. If you didn't know that, that's ignorance, right? So it's not a bad thing. That's the word. That's the meaning. So I think Darwinism is actually a major player in this situation right now, because if somebody takes on the mindset of, or the thought virus of, let's say, Ebony K, which, like I said to you before, she has every right to think the way she thinks because she actually is in this lane. So that's okay. But if you don't measure up to this lane, this is across the board. This ain't no man or woman thing. This is across the board. If you don't measure up to it, what is you complaining about? And if you don't really measure up to her, what are you demanding? You ain't got it. You ain't got what she got. He ain't got what, who her man was before. He ain't got that either. You don't measure up. It's a good, this is a good, armchair sport to actually pay attention to. I love people watching. This is the best thing in the world. But I think Darwin's going to win out on this one. We need to thin out the situation anyway. Right now, we at the precipice of a economic boom. and a not only a generation, I want to say populist boom, right? The patron saint BGS Edmore had a nice little situation where he spoke about how everything is growing, and because of the situation of the growth of our populace in a disconnection in which we have with the general pride in which we actually have for the Americas, let's say, for instance, right? Because I have my own opinion about certain things. You'll learn as they go along. Most of them is, as I'm a use Gold Professor's situation right here, FBA ADOS situation. I'm as a FBA ADOS male, right? I have a particular love for my homeland and my country, and we are delving into an area in which a lot of people are veering away from the prides in which we need to take in. Yeah, I'm gonna end it there. The prides in which we need to take in. Think about this part. As an African American, right? Let's get rid of. Let's cut the situation of our past being the situation of what we were constantly told, like, being slaves and all that type of stuff, right? Let's go ahead and pay attention to the situation now. Not only are we thriving, we've been excelling in so many different situations. It scares people. It scares people. Every time we rise to the occasion, it's phenomenal. And this is just talking about the African American situation. Have you paid attention to what the reports are saying about babies coming from Nigeria? It's epic. It's lovely. Some of the smartest human beings on the planet. Voice is going up because of that part right there. But we're gonna pull it back to the USA. When black men, and I'm aiming at black men first. When black men, because we've all run into this situation. You've met one of them. An overachiever that is like just in every shape, form, or fashion, just a beast at everything that he does. You've met him. I'm not one of them. Like, I'm one of them in spurts. But I'm not one of them that is just always on. I would say I know way too many of them now. The main thing that we have right now when it comes to black men in America is the thought virus of one, keeping it real. Yeah, keeping it real. If we paid more attention to like the pride in our blackness, because we need something to hold on to, right? And it ain't even a situation of thinking about it in a racial aspect, right? We're always pushed out of other groups because of the biases of other groups, mostly, not because we actually do anything wrong. A majority of the time, because like after they get to know a lot of our men, they pretty much love our guys, right? But it is mostly biases that were taught to them. It is what it is. But if we just balanced out the situation of just thinking about the camaraderie that we need to have which is very hard to do in our community because of the way that we raised our people in the last, let's say, 20 years, to be rugged individualists and, you come in this world by yourself and you die by yourself. All those old phrases, y'all all know them. You heard them before. Just come together, right? Just put the puzzle pieces where they need to be. And we would actually just excel in every facet. And if you think not, just wait and see. I predict the next 5 years is about to be crazy. The reason why I'm gonna say the next 5 years is gonna be crazy is because we've, like, right about now, placed ourselves in a situation where everybody's excelling. Our women, I've left them out of this one because they're excelling, but they're excelling in a situation in which they're actually being assisted to excel, which is good. But the men, they're not getting the same assistance in any way, shape, form, or fashion. So imagine, with everything that's happening right now, the playing field levels. I'm enjoying watching everything happen. I've made some really good decisions to put myself in a situation where I've been protecting myself, right? When the first housing crisis and everything happened, I chose to leave the country. When a couple of other things happened, I made some good choices to place a lot of, ducats in my pockets, in a situation that made me well off. I'm not well off. No. If I was, I probably wouldn't even be talking to y'all, to be honest with you, because, like, if you rich, you get quiet. That's what I noticed. So, but I made a great amount of decisions to put myself in a station in which I was good. That's what I'm gonna say. I was good, and I'm making a couple of more of them right now. And there are going to be some trials and tribulations that we're going to be facing very soon, much sooner than we actually wanted it to happen. And in my prediction, the very thing that I want is for us to come together, and we're going to be forced to come together. Can you see the elation? This is your boy, God King Zuko, aka DJ Zuko. I'm going to end it there. Thank y'all for coming through. Thank you for watching. Make sure you hit the like button if you came in. Make sure that you subscribe. Make sure that you actually go to our website, FIRENATIONRADIO.com. I'm just starting. It's going to get a lot better. We're going to have a lot more assisted situations, because I love having actual conversations with people. My boy, he fell off. His I don't know if his internet or his computer had broke down. I mean, not broke down, but, like, something messed up. But, like, thank you for coming through, DJ Olaf. For all the others that actually came to the back, but they weren't able to get in, we're gonna fix these problems. It just forced me to actually take on the show all by myself, and I love that part. I have to develop this particular thing right here. I think I'm getting good at this. Jamal, can't wait for you to come through. I see you in the back. And all my invited guests that actually, you know, they either could or couldn't come through, I can't wait till y'all come through so we can have some of these conversations. But where's this outro at? I really appreciate y'all. I really love this situation of being able to express myself and talk to you and give y'all some of the things that I'm thinking about. I don't think you know what? Let me conclude this because I think I didn't really conclude it. I don't think Ebony was wrong. I'm gonna make that short. I don't think. I do think that there was a lot more outrage than there should have been from people who actually don't fit the bill. But for the men who do fit the bill, I don't even think that they would have really been outraged, because if she actually puts a situation out there in which the men that she wants are not really receptive to, they'll just not deal with her, especially at the level that they're at, and especially at the level that she's at. There's more of her than there are of them. So it's more of a loss for her to be able to it's more of a loss for her to pretty much get those guys upset or perturbed. That's on her. Y'all ain't got nothing to do with this. This is like, it's levels to this shit. Remember that? It's levels to this. I think a lot of people who was talking about this, now that I actually heard what she actually really said, y'all don't fit the bill. Y'all don't fit the bill. Shit. We don't fit the bill. Gotta be real about that. All right. So I'm gonna end it here. Like, subscribe. Oh yeah, we're gonna have YouTube. Make sure that y'all look forward to seeing not only the YouTube, we're gonna have the what is the name of it again? Where Slapfest is. You'll see it in the bottom. But make sure you look for the YouTube. Make sure you look for the Instagram. The Facebook is coming. We're going to be pushing out more information on certain things, especially the predictions. I'm gonna give more predictions. I keep trying to end this and I keep coming back. I'm gonna give more predictions. The reason why I'm saying to you I'm gonna give more predictions is there are things that I see. If it's not because of the field that I'm in, because of the skills I acquired, or maybe it's just because of the interest that I have that actually give me certain insights, and some of the people I follow, right? I'm gonna give more predictions, and we've been hitting. We let's just say 18 months out. We've been batting like, let's say 80%, 18 months out for the last 3 years. So for me, I want to document these now. That's the reason why I'm up here saying I'm gonna put more predictions on the show, because I have more than enough people come to me on a regular basis saying, you know what? You was right. Now, I was right, but there's some other people who probably informed me that was right. And I love coming back to them being like, hey, remember that you said? You was right. I love that. Love it. Anyway, I'm gonna press this end button now. Y'all have a good night. Shalom. I said that back in the day. An injustice anywhere is an injustice everywhere. Holla.